Oh, why? That's pretty good.
We'll get started. Everyone stand. Demonstrate Secretary of the Pledge.
Father in heaven, we come again now, blessing your holy name. We come thanking for your goodness and your mercy. Lord, we ask for your help right now as we start to do what's best for our citizens. Thank you, Father, for your Father's from where you're hearing us too. Father, none of this is personal, but it is about business. We thank you again and we love you, Father, for how you're taking care of us. Father, then we expect you to carry us through this session, that we all will be able to live with something we all be able to live with. And we thank you again. Father, bless all our people that work with us, bless this country, and bless those that are standing around the world that is protecting us from all hurt, harm, and danger. Father, protect all our officials in a special way. Help us, Father, as we go from one good degree to another. And we'll be so able to give you the praise and the glory, as praises go up, blessings come down, and we all stand in need of a blessing. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone to our meeting. It's Thursday, July 17th, 2025 at 9 a.m. This is our second budget workshop for the fiscal year 2025-2026. There's a conference line set up with a number there, it's 1917-900-1022. Access code is 32347#. This is not a toll-free number, and you may be subject to long-distance charges according to your long-distance plan. When the chairperson opens the meeting for public comment, please follow the below instructions. If you wish to speak, please dial *5. The moderator will unmute your line when it's your turn to speak and notify you by announcing the last 4 digits of your telephone number. Please announce your name and address. You'll be allowed to speak for 3 minutes. Any person wishing to address the board regarding an agenda item will be given 3 minutes for comment. A commenter may only speak 1 time for each agenda item. With that said, move on to item 3, the Board to hold budget workshops, continue discussing all aspects of fiscal year 2025-2026 budget priorities. So,
Yeah, so, I guess we're just gonna continue our talks. We didn't make any changes, on Monday, but we still have the deficit in the general fund of 191,375. And then in the MSTU is 238,447.
There are two small changes we can make. We can remove the roll-off truck from next year's 1 cent sales tax capital list. It is on the ground now, so we'll use current funding for that, that the board already approved. And the health department has agreed to reduce their budget request to $30,000. So they've agreed to reduce by $10,000. So the original the current year's request is 50, and they're coming down to 30.
20,000.
Total, yes, sir.
So the 10,000 is already reflected in this, so the new 10,000 would then
another
reduce it to 181,375.
and then the rock truck, well, then the
1 cent sales tax. So
It won't change the 1 cent budget. It'll increase the reserves, but it won't change the budget amount. But it will reduce the solid waste budget by that amount. The total overall.
But that won't have any effect on the deficit in the MSTU fund.
Well, so moving forward, I know we got the sheriff here, so if you wanna come on up and do a short.
My mouthpiece is right there today.
I'm just gonna give y'all an overview of, I know that sheriff's budget's the largest budget you have. We understand that. We also understand that, it's been said that we didn't do anything to try to cut our budget or anything. Well, last year, we submitted a $9.4 million budget. We reduced that budget by $211,000 last year to help balance the budget. We also took a 5% decrease in the 1 cent sales tax where we buy our capital outlay of vehicles and things like that. We can't keep going backwards. We gotta pay the deputies. Those deputies are out there risking their life every day. This morning, we had a high-speed chase already. Before 7:30 this morning, we're in a high-speed chase with a convicted felon with warrants. Those are high-risk endeavors that we go to every single day. So, having said that, I understand, we all understand that we're in a crunch, that we have to do other things. But you still got to pay the deputies, and we got to pay the high-risk retirement. So there was some question about our budget and the way we submitted it. So there were no pay raises. I will reiterate that again. There were no pay raises, other than what the board authorized at 50 cents per hour last year. But you didn't fund that in our budget. You actually subtracted it. That was part of that $211,000. We made up the difference in the budget ourselves. We worked some other things around. We took about a $100,000 hit to our operating funds, personal services, about $100,000, and that was reduced. And then about $12,000 in contractual services that we absorbed the funding last year. So when John submitted the budget this year, or the sheriff submitted the budget, he added that $211,000 back in, plus, and this is just this year alone, the increase in the high-risk retirement fund, $97,083.86. That's how much our retirement increased. The sheriff's department is the only department in the county, the office of the county, that operates, besides the fire department, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Christmas, Thanksgiving, all the holidays that everybody else gets to go home and enjoy, we do not. So, these guys put their life on the line every single day. Is it worth $1 here or $1 there? You guys ask for an officer every single meeting to protect you. We provide it. That's not part of our budget. That's an overtime item that's not part of our budget that we budget for. Every special event that you have and you ask for officers, we provide officers. When you call, we come. So if you reduce the budget, the time that it takes us to come is going to be longer. Because as we've said before, the only way to really cut is in personnel. Now, that personnel can be deputies or that personnel can be correctional officers. But also remember that when we talk about low-hanging fruit and all the things that we do for the county, all the mowing, all the inmate work crews that we provide, all that stuff, that's not part of our core mission. So if we've got to cut, we're going to be cutting off of what's not our core mission. 24 hours a day, we have to have correctional officers to watch inmates. You know that we've had a couple of escapes. We really need more people in jail, but we work with what we got. None of you have had to knock on the door at 2 o'clock in the morning to tell a parent that their child is dead from an automobile accident or for somebody shooting them in a drive-by that we've had here in town, several drive-bys. None of you have had to walk to the door and knock on it and tell the spouse that their husband is not coming home today because he was just shot in the line of duty or he's been killed in a car crash in the line of duty. We've done that 3 times. It's a high-risk job, and unfortunately, it takes money for that high-risk job. Having said all that, John reworked some numbers and everything, and we can take off of our budget request, because we added that 211 back in, and we cannot continue to take that kind of cut. We'll take $100,000 off our general revenue request and work some numbers some different way. And we'll reduce our request from the 1 cent money by another $50,000 to $350. We still have to buy equipment for these guys. We still have to buy cars, ballistic vests. Those have expiration dates. We have to replace those on a constant basis. Fuel has not went down. The cost of supplies have not went down. So, I mean, the budget is what the budget is. But, I mean, the sheriff did go back and he's willing to cut that 100,000 from our current request and the 50,000 from the 1 cent money where we do our capital outlay stuff. So, if there's any questions, we'll try to answer them. If not, that's our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions from the board?
I do. So are you telling the citizens of this county that you will reduce your law enforcement officers instead of reducing administrative or non-essential workers?
We don't have any non-essential workers.
Okay, let's go back to reducing administrative. So instead, you're saying that the only thing I can do is reduce deputies, and that's pretty sensational. Instead of.
You can say so, it's not
administrative
sensational to me.
costs.
You want to come be a deputy? Our administrative staff are all deputies, except for our finance officer and our human resource director and our civil clerk and the clerk at the jail. Every dispatcher works. That's an essential position. I can't cut those. Correctional officers are essential positions. I can't cut those. But everyone, the sheriff, myself, Buddy Lee, that you consider administration, all of us work the road. I was out in the chase this morning. So no, we can't cut without cutting response to the citizens. That's exactly right. And it's not sensational. I'm trying to be sensational. I'm trying to tell you I've done this for 36 years. I've given my life to the citizens of this county. I'm not trying to be sensational. None of you have taken us up on the opportunity to come ride and see what these guys do. Not a single one. So if you think that's sensationalism, then it's sensationalism.
I've done it in the past.
I haven't ever seen you.
It might not have been in your time.
So, but anyway,
I appreciate the job that you do. I understand what it is to be a deputy, so to speak, not quite maybe to the depth that you do, but that's your job. My job is my job and your job is your job. So I understand.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand the risk that you take. What we're talking about here is trying to balance our budget.
Yes, ma'am, I understand balancing the budget, but the statute also says that you have to, not may, not might, not will, it says you have to adequately fund the sheriff. We gave you a budget that we can live within. That is the adequate funding for our department. Now, if you don't think so, you can go through and make your line item cuts, and then we'll just take it to where we have to. That's the only thing we can do.
Wait, say that again? What did you just say?
I just said, if you don't think that we've done a good job and you want to cut something, you go cut it. And then if we need to take it to the governor, we'll take it to the governor.
And I think that we're in agreement with that. If you feel like you have to take it to the governor, then that's what you'll have to do. If this board agrees to that. That's your option, and we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah.
The governor may very well take your side. I don't know. But we're at a point where we're trying to do our job here. Okay, we were elected to do a job, and this budget is part of that job. And that's what we're trying to do. So if y'all will put up page 273 of their budget, because I still don't quite understand, I want you to look at page 273.
I could ask a question while that's going on, Mr. Chairman. I believe you said y'all were willing to reduce 100,000, 10,000 health department. Isn't that bringing us in the general fund to $81,000?
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure I hadn't missed that part. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question? Marty, you said you were willing to reduce $100,000.
Yes.
Is that just in your general operating, or was that specific, reducing positions, or?
No, that's just in general operating.
General, so that would be with no reduction in
No
services?
reduction, yeah.
Okay.
But that's off of our budget request, not off of what you funded last year.
No, I understand, but you're saying you're willing to reduce $100,000 with no disruption in any service?
In any service, that's correct.
Okay.
Can we not put 273 on the screen?
No, ma'am,
It's not in an electronic file.
it's not.
No, we can't.
It's not an
It's
electronic
not in an
file.
electronic file.
I just thought that, I thought that should. Okay, so I still don't understand on the page 273 of your budget, regular salaries, 24, 25, it was 2,402,000. Now your request is 2,638,000, which is a differential of 236,382. Help me understand that.
Yes, ma'am.
If
So,
there's no increases, help me understand what you have given us.
so we have to pay for the new subsidy rate that the state just approved for the law enforcement officers that they get from the state of Florida. We have to fund that up front. They reimburse us that later.
What is the subsidy rate?
It's the money that the governor authorized to equalize the pay for local officers in physically constrained counties so that they're not leaving us and going to the state jobs all the time. Every physically constrained county gets an amount of money from the state every year.
Danielle, can you explain that process?
It's the quarterly money.
Right.
Right. So we get the quarterly money from the state, and then I issue the sheriff's office a check when we get it. The county gets it, because the board has to sign the agreement. And so it's issued to the county quarterly, and then we issue the check to the sheriff's office once we get the money.
So why is it included in this budget then?
Because we have to fund it up front before we have to pay those officers out of a budget before the money comes back in. Any money that's left over at the end of the year, you guys get back anyway. I mean, we've never not given any money back. We've
Well,
always
you have
given.
given us money back, but it's with the stipulation, I want this to go to Christmas gifts, to Christmas.
I've never told you what to
Yes,
do.
you
Well,
have.
no, you have not.
Y'all have said, I want this money to go to Christmas bonuses. We can go back to the record. So when you gave that money back specifically, I want this money to go to the employees for Christmas bonuses. That was the directive that we had.
Otherwise, we could give the board a directive.
I'll say I've never gotten a directive on any of the return funds as to how they are expended. I know we've been able to be generous and certainly reflect that to our employees, but I have not ever gotten any suggestions or directives as to return funds.
Well, either you were asleep or you weren't here.
Well, I like to take naps, and maybe you'd go take one.
I don't remember that neither.
I've never been given any suggestions by any.
I give you one, I'm not.
So I just reiterate, if I may, in this reduction, we're looking at $81,000 deficit in the general fund.
Yes, sir.
So I'll speak in reference to talking high risk, I think you're correct if I'm wrong, I think, Wanda, don't we have some high risk on the board side as well?
We do, the firefighters.
So I'm just speaking in general, is we had some mandated high risk retirement that increased, but we asked, because we've asked for reductions in budget, so that was a mandated increase, but staff still went in and found other areas to reduce costs to come up with, what's the dollar amount that we had again on that side?
The percentage,
Another dollar amount, what was, percentage dollar amount, it don't matter.
let me check.
You know how much their retirement was?
For the fire department,
We decreased that budget by how much? Even in lieu of mandated legislative retirement increase. I'm simply saying, people dug deep. They didn't cut anybody's job out, to my knowledge. No one's job was cut out. The other 4 constitutional officers went in and bless her heart, supervisor elections come in over $100,000.
Yeah.
And I feel like she worked pretty darn lean. And she come in with over $100,000 reduction in her budget. And I'm just simply, I like all you guys. I don't have no problem with none of you guys. You guys always answer the phone. It's always been very helpful. But simply just asked for assistance and no increases. For the budgets, no increases this year. Just simply ask for a reduction to help us balance the budget, to dig deep and help balance this budget. Knowing, now granted, we were blessed to get a $900,000 grant or whatever you want to call it to offset some of that loss that we were going to have. But in lieu of high risk, we do have high risk on the board side and mandated legislative. And so we had, the clerk come up with 75,000, the property appraiser 71,000. So,
I understand that, Commissioner, but
We just
last
gave you
year,
100,000 back right there, he told you.
Commissioner, last year you took 211. You didn't take that from everybody else. You took 211 out of our requested budget last year. We gave that back. Okay, we can't keep going backwards. I can't. We can't operate at the same level every year. Everything is going up. I'm sorry. It is what it is. And I understand you got 8 or 10 high-risk retirement employees at the fire department. We got about 60 sworn officers. We have to pay correctional officers high risk, and every road deputy, every certified law enforcement officer is a high-risk retirement. Okay, the numbers are different. Yes, they work 24 hours a day, but they don't respond to near the call volume that we do. Our call volume is up every month.
I'm not negating.
I understand. What I'm saying is that we did give you money back. We gave you 211 last year. We had to put some of that back in. We just gave 100 off the top of this budget, plus 50 off the request for the 1 cent money. We've done what we can. Again, that's our submitted budget. That's all we can do.
That's all we can do to maintain. I'll tell you what, I wasn't gonna say nothing, but I'll tell you what you do. You go figure out what we spend on gas,
what we spend on mowing and lawn mowing and the things we do with this county, we'll shut all that down. That's what I call low hanging fruit. Them inmates will not leave that jail and go do nothing. They'll be on that compound. You do your own mowing, you do your own cleaning, you take care of yourself, we'll take care of ours over there. John, you figure out what it is.
And then we'll get that money back.
We'll get that back to you. You do your own mowing, your own cleaning, okay? You're not gonna defund law enforcement to the fact that I can't supply adequate law enforcement in this county to take care of these people. I'll see you in Tallahassee, the governor, or wherever we got to go. Period.
That's your stance, so.
That's it, and I ain't changing, and I ain't saying no more about it. You either pay it, don't ask me no more about it, you go ask the governor.
We may as well take emergency.
Let's go. I'm ready. We're not defunding law enforcement to the safety of this county.
That's not really even reducing your budget, because we're just gonna shift it somewhere else, so we're gonna have to go do it, so, just fine, I mean, I think we don't have a problem with it.
Get it done, son. Make it light on yourself.
This is the problem, you know, this should be a team effort. Every elected official should be a member of the team and try to work together on these budget issues. We've never been where we are today before. So, and everyone, I think everyone should be held to the same standard. Just like you said, our supervisor of elections, she cut 14%. And I know that she had to make sacrifices to do that. She even stood here the other day and she said, I don't have overtime because if there's anything that needs to be done, I'm the one that steps in and does the work instead of having overtime. But this is just another example. When they don't get what they want, they show out and they threaten. They have threatened us with taking the mowing crew away. That's fine. That's fine. We've been threatened with having the jail dumped on us. That's fine, but that doesn't reduce the overall budget. If the jail is given to us, fine, but that does not help this bottom line.
I think that's our point.
The public has been threatened.
We're telling you what it costs to run this.
Hold on just a minute, please, don't interrupt me. The public has been threatened. Well, you won't get anybody to respond if you need law enforcement.
That's not what was said, Commissioner. Now you're being dramatic.
Threatened. We're at the point now that we've got to make hard decisions. Again, Taylor County has never seen times like this. I do appreciate what those deputies do. I think they're underpaid. I'm the first to say that. And I know they put their lives on the line every day that they walk out of their door. I understand that. And I am not advocating that deputies be cut. Every organization can go through their budget and they can find places to cut. May not want to, but we can. And another thing, he says we keep giving back every year, but this sheriff's office budget has never decreased. If you look across the line through all the years, that total budget increases every year. So there's a point where we have to quit spending and we've got to do what we have to do. I don't want to put it on the backs of our taxpayers who already, some of them, are living on a shoestring. They're barely making it now. It would not be prudent and responsible to go into our reserves because, as I said the other day, Taylor County, we have not hit bottom yet. And this county could go bankrupt. So we have to cut spending. I appreciate everybody that has gone and burnt the midnight oil trying to cut their budgets, and they've done a really good job. So.
Were you implying that we didn't work on trying to?
If it goes to the governor, so be it. We've been threatened with that too. I'm not afraid to go to the governor. I think we have a very good case. If you look at revenue that we've lost and where we are and the big spending, I'm not afraid to go to the governor. If the governor decides, hey, give him all he wants, then we know where to point the finger when we have to spend and go bankrupt.
One last thing. You guys, you have, what, 96 employees total? And that's between the jail?
Yeah.
And 16 of the 96 are gonna be shift deputies. Correct?
Actually, there's roughly 20 with the supervisors and stuff.
Yeah, okay. And there's 35 of the jail, that's what you're doing.
Roughly that, yeah. I mean, I don't have an exact count. I can get you an exact count. I can give you.
Okay. Anything else for the sheriff?
What I would say, what we need to do is we need to, first of all, we need to reduce their budget. We do not need to grant any increases. We need to decrease that budget, just like we have asked. If it goes to the governor, it goes to the governor. We need to take all of the 1 cent sales tax back. We're at a time right now, at this time, the county needs this revenue worse than the hospital or the sheriff's department. We have some unknowns in our budget. We don't know what the property tax is going to come back and cost us. That's an unknown. We don't know what the new ambulance service contract is going to cost us. I am sure all of those are going to increase. We need that sales tax money. We need it more than anybody else right now. We need to take every dime of it back. If the hospital has to have something, they can come and ask us. And if it's something that they absolutely have to operate that hospital, then come to us. Same thing with the sheriff's office. Before we divided this tax up, and that was very generous of this board, to give 50% of that 1 cent sales tax away. We gave 25% to the hospital. We gave 25% to the sheriff. Never was it said that this is going to go on forever. That was never in the plan that it would go on forever. Before we did that, they were able to manage, they bought their vehicles then. Okay? So we can do it again.
You want to keep,
Well, when y'all gave us that, we took a 3% cut too. Don't forget about that, okay? Y'all didn't never give back.
you want to retain all the 1 cent money,
Yes.
including the TCDA?
We don't give the TCDA surtax money.
But you
sir.
get 100,000.
That comes out of the general. And why do you bring up the TCDA?
Well,
Why
we're
are
talking
you
about retaining
picking on the
all the funding.
TCDA?
You would, I'll explain it.
That's petty.
No, ma'am.
That is petty.
You've said that we need to retain all our funding and these folks can appear before this board.
No, I didn't.
That's what you.
I said we need
And
to
I wanna
take
be
the
sure
1
that I'm
cent
clear.
sales tax back.
So,
That's what I said.
I just
Don't
wanna be
put
clear.
words in my mouth.
I'm just wanting to be clear that what I believe I understood you to say is that we needed to keep funding so that this board could make decisions. And that's why I asked you that question.
Okay, let me answer you then.
Please.
What I said, we need to take all of the 1 cent sales tax back. We give 25% to the hospital, we give 25% to the sheriff. We don't give the TCDA part of that surtax.
But
So
I think
that
means
that's
funding
not-
for the board.
That is
Thank
not
you.
part of this discussion right now.
Well, thank you. I wanted to be sure I didn't misunderstand.
I want to make
Any
a
other
clarification,
questions about that
please.
you
It's
just
not
should ask.
25%. We took a reduction last year to 20%. Okay, and we offered a reduction this year, another 50,000. We might could bump that up a little bit more, but we still have to replace vehicles. These people have to have something to drive. I want to make one more clarification, Mr. Chairman, because Commissioner Fiegel has said that we have an increase in budget every single year. If you go back and look at the budgets, the increase are for the dollar an hour raises that you guys gave
and/or insurance increases and high-risk retirement increases, or retirement increases. They weren't to add additional funds to the sheriff's budget. Those were mandated items. If we had a health insurance increase, which we didn't, that's fine. Or if we had property insurance, which we did have increases in, if we had high-risk insurance increases in, plus the raises that the board gave, that's where the budget was increased. Thank you.
He mentioned the insurance, and I want to go back and remind this board that they came over and we discussed the insurance plan. And we said, join our insurance plan, that saved them money.
Saved you money
So if
too.
anybody here remembers that, so
I
Yeah, and it reduced y'all's insurance
Reduced
because
your
we come over
cost
with
as
y'all.
well, having us come over with the younger demographic.
Well,
Yeah.
in reference to the one cent money, I don't think it's, like I said, and Mr. Fiegel said, but I said Monday, we were blessed to get a $900,000 grant one time. We might not get it next year. We might not get that next year. We got a ambulance bid, service, EMS, service bid coming up. We don't know what that's gonna look like. I'm not trying to hurt none of you guys and what you guys do. We appreciate everything that you do, but, we got a budget in front of us, and yes, you have a $9.2 billion, budget, and on the 1 cent money, it's not to where, I'm trying to plan for the future, not really even just in the moment. I'm looking at next year and the year after, that, not saying we go spend all that 1 cent money and we don't have to have a home for it. That's not saying you guys can't come back and, hey, I need to get this. Same with the hospital. Hey, we need this. And the board approve it. We don't, like I said, we make legislative appropriations to the state every year. And they don't just hand us money to the board. We just say, hey, this is things that we need. Can you approve? We may get it approved and we may not. Sometimes it may be a no, so. It's the same scenario. Not saying you guys or the hospital DMH can't come ask, get you request some of that funding for vehicles or whatever it may be. But I think it's in our best interest of the county to not allocate it to a home just in case we need it, and planning for next year and the year after, because I can tell you right now, this year isn't the roughest years. I feel like the next couple of years are gonna be our roughest years ahead of us. And y'all know that.
We understand that. Listen, we understand about the 1 cent money too. I will remind you though, that we don't just willy-nilly spend the money. We have to use the county's
I'm not saying you do.
purchasing requirements. Everything has to be cleared through your finance department. It's not just we go up there and say, okay, we're gonna do this.
I'm not saying you do, but I'm just, again.
Well, it sounds like it from what's being said, that we're not responsible, that we just kind of willy-nilly do whatever.
I'm not saying that. I'm looking at.
That is not how we do our budget. That's not how we do anything else.
I'm looking at an overall county budget and looking into the future, not just the moment. Everybody can look in the moment and think, oh, we're trying to hurt this one, hurt that one, but we're not. I'm looking at now and the next couple of years. Hopefully, we can land some industry that can help.
Mister, we took 100,000 off of what our request was. We took 50 off the request for the 1 cent money.
And it's not in the best interest of the county to defund law enforcement either.
I'm not trying to defund law.
And that's, we're just, look, everybody's emotions getting running high and stuff like this, but our guys do on a daily basis. Commissioner Fiegel was alluding that all the other constitutional officers burned a bunch of midnight oil trying to prepare a budget. We burned a lot of midnight oil too. I burn midnight oil every night. I respond to calls until late in the night. My phone rings constantly. It's not like I'm an administrator that sits on my tail in an office all day long. It's not what happens. We're out doing law enforcement functions. And I take exception that you think that we just sit around and do nothing. And that we can cut from the administrative level, or we can cut from here. We all do law enforcement.
I don't care where you have to cut. That's not my job to go figure that out. That's y'all.
I understand, and I understand. I just,
In lieu of the, you can't defund law enforcement. Well, guess what? I can't defund, they reduced their budget. I can't defund public works either, but I'm not defunding public works. They work for the county and the citizens of the county, and they went and found money, even in the fact that this high-risk retirement come up. These guys,
You don't have anybody in public works against high-risk retirement.
I didn't say that, we got the fire department, that's what that falls under the board. It's the same high-risk retirement that you deal with. So I'm just saying, I can't defund these guys, but guess what? They went and found money. Clerk went and found money, the supervisor of elections found money, the tax collector, property appraiser, they went and found money. I can't defund those guys. I'm not asking to defund anyone, just asking to help cut costs and balance the budget. Not looking for increases, we were looking for reductions in budgets.
You know, we could do the same thing. We could tell our citizens, we're gonna cut the fire department. Okay? That's the only way we can cut our budget, is to cut our fire department. So when you call and your house is on fire, I won't be able to respond. They work 24/7, and they work for nothing, almost. I'm telling you. So, you wanna talk about willy-nilly. When I look back at your travel expenses, for instance, and in 2020, 23, 24, you spent $37,401 on travel.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that not superfluous big spending?
No, ma'am, because our officers have to have training.
$37,000, how can you get right in on 15 that last year? So, you see, there's fat in this budget. I just don't want to admit it. They don't want to cut it, and here's the problem. They took a stance from the very first day. We're not gonna cut our budget. That's where they are today. You can't tell me that they've
I
spent.
don't think that's where we are. We just came over
trying
and
to find
took
cuts
$100,000 off the
because they
budget.
cut their budget already. So,
We're getting nowhere,
you
Commissioner.
know,
I mean,
can you
we-
please not interrupt, Marty?
I'm done. I mean, I really
I
am.
hope you are then, because, you know, it's very rude to interrupt a commissioner when they're trying to talk.
It's very rude to interrupt the undersheriff when he's trying to talk, and you've done that too.
Come on, Marty.
Okay, so let's just,
Come on,
we're
buddy.
done.
Goodbye.
You ain't getting nowhere with this guy. Sir, pay what you, do what you gotta do, we're gonna do what we gotta do, we're gonna stand up for our people.
We're gonna stand up for this county too.
We are standing up for the county, we ain't being mealy-mouthed and two-faced about it either. Well, you called me on the phone one day and tell me, Sheriff, I am not gonna vote to cut your budget, I am in favor of law enforcement, and then turn around and be two-faced about it, and then get up here and say something different.
I haven't told.
Yes, you did,
I have
too.
not told you
Now
that.
you're telling a lie.
I have not told you that.
No, you did, Pam, you called me on the phone.
I did, but not this budget session. Not this budget session.
Yes, you did, too.
I did. In the past, when he asked me about the budget, I said, I'm not gonna cut your budget, because at that time, we were not in the situation that we're in now. And I said, no, I'm not gonna cut your budget. You can count on that. And I didn't vote to cut his budget, but this year, Taylor County is in a different situation. We are $1.9 million short. And just because they come here and show out and get mad, yeah, we still have a job to do.
Well, I don't feel like we really got anywhere in this discussion, other than we do probably need to find out if that's their stance, is to hand out, now, we pay for the work crews, so, I mean, we still gonna have to have the work crew, but like Sheriff said, he said, y'all go take the work crews and y'all figure it out, but if that's their stance, then I wanna make sure this emergency management comes back to the county as well. That if these guys wanna go be law enforcement, let them go be law enforcement, they have a duty to this community, even in emergency times, to keep this community safe. So I just need to know if that's their stance, that I want this board to look at, emergency management should come back to this board as well.
So
There's
what,
no question in my mind where they are. They've been there since day one. They said on the first day, we are not going to cut our budget, period. And so I think that where we are now, and they're, you know, they keep bringing up going to the governor. I think that's what they want to do. And that's fine. We can do that. I think that, you know,
I'm not worried about that at all.
I think that we may be okay there, and if we're not, then at least we can tell our citizens, this is why you're paying more taxes, because the sheriff will not cut his budget. To a point that, you know, we can get to where we need to be.
They did cut some. He
They
told me
did.
straight out that he'd take $50,000 off the ones that's money.
They also said just $100,000 off the budget request, but Mr. Moody, you still got $86,000 increase in there. We're not really looking for an increase. We got 5 government entities within this government, meaning the constitutional officers in our public works, that did decrease their budget, some more than I would have ever even thought. And I'm just saying, we have a $9.2 million budget.
They're not in the same shoes as them folks say. I mean, they can cut, I think, easier than for their amount of money they spend, they can cut some. I understand, I appreciate them cutting it. But he got a lot more employees and a lot more stuff moving parts of that operation than any other group.
We understand that, but I tell you what he did today, he threw us a bone. He threw us a little bone today, but that doesn't get us to where we need to be.
We don't know exactly where we're gonna be, and that's true. It might get worse, it might get better.
I know we have $400,000 in the deficit still. Well, over 300 now, I guess.
But we don't know where we're gonna be. We do know that right now, we're at 1.9, and what we don't know is how much higher that deficit is gonna go, because we've got property insurance and we've got the ambulance service, so you're exactly right. We don't know where we're gonna end up. I suspect that it's gonna be higher than where we are now.
I would just rather, when somebody calls 911, that they can get somebody coming to them. I don't want them to just act like some sheriff's departments do and other law enforcement do. Sometimes they just drag around. That bunch has performed and done their job.
And they do, and I can see you drink the Kool-Aid too. But, and I appreciate what
Drink
they.
the Kool-Aid. You don't need to start throwing rocks at me, Mr. Baker.
Again,
You said, don't just say I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Don't just throwing rocks at me. You keep that shut on that part, I'm telling you.
I could ask, Mr. Chairman, is it, I mean, I know we've talked about that the number really now is in the general fund is 81,375, somewhere in that neighborhood. Is that true? So isn't it possible to, in this volatile situation, utilize the reserve fund to balance here? Is that out of bounds or not in the discussion?
if I may, I think you have a couple of options. Yes, you could fund with reserves.
I'm just looking at an $81,000.
In the general fund, you
Yes,
could fund
ma'am.
with reserves. You could, obviously, you know, there are things you can do with the millage, we've already talked about that. And you could fund with 1 cent sales tax reserves.
Right. And I
So the options are the same.
respect the option for the millage, but if we didn't have to move that, and we could use, reserve funding in this situation, what then would we need to look at in respect to the MST?
So the deficit in the MSTU is 238,447, and I think the options are exactly the same.
I see.
There is, Daniel, what's the reserve, I'm sorry, in MSTU? I know we,
So you're looking at 2.3 million in the reserves in the MSTU.
which
So
is
that-
not as healthy as the general fund, obviously.
I see. So that would be a different, greater percentage, obviously, That would take you really down to $2 million in reserves there, correct? If that was the case,
Something like that.
if it wasn't a millage.
And again, our reserves and 1 cent sales tax are healthy.
How much is in the 1 cent sales tax?
Let's just look at that, hang on.
So it's over 3 million.
It's 3.4, and then I'll be adding the 240 back in, so.
3.4.
Are our reserves
3.7.
All right,
3.7 is what you'll have in the 1 cent reserves.
that's almost $4 million.
Yes, sir.
How close are we to trying to balance the budget?
We won't really know. I mean, right now, you're at a little over, about $300,000 right now, but I mean, we still
81.
still don't know that whenever these insurance numbers and stuff come back, you don't know where that's gonna lead, so you still could end up, you could end up being $500,000 or $600,000 short.
Well, hopefully not. I mean, the whole purpose of competitively, trying to competitively procure the other insurance lines was to hope for a reduction. I wouldn't expect them to go up necessarily. We could stay the same. Don't you think, Gary? I mean, hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully. Well, I mean, we budgeted what we anticipated
I
the
budgeted
increase to be if we stayed with what we got.
right what we have.
So that's in the
So
budget.
hopefully it'll be at least a reduction from what we budgeted.
Right. So I wouldn't anticipate that to change our budget numbers. The only, I think, unknown is for the ambulance service, and y'all could continue to fund 50/50 from 1 cent sales tax and general fund, or you could offset any increase from the 1 cent sales tax, because the revenue from the 1 cent sales tax is budgeted at $2.6 million. So the current expenditures are $408,516 for EMS and a little over $1.1 million for capital. Because DMH's 1 cent sales tax would not come out of the new money. So that leaves about $1.1 million just in next year's revenue in 1 cent sales tax. Plus your reserves.
How much was EMS? How much we paid?
So, 816, 700, or 817.
817,000.
And again, half is funded from general fund, half is funded from 1 cent sales tax.
I was coming from Tallahassee Monday night at the LFA. Out there on 10, I saw Century creeping. Everybody, the light was out on the emergency wagon. It scared me. I was there. I saw it. Jefferson County passed first and coming back to Monticello. They was coming back to Perry. That's the only Century I know that served us. And they was creeping. That animal was creeping. And I told my brother, I said, that's a problem like that. But now, I don't have a problem with none of this taking in this back. We need to take back to do what we need to do from emergency management, emergency wagon, emergency EMS, or whatever we need to do. I do appreciate what we got. And if we think we can do better, we do that. I've heard a lot of talk. And I do know there's something we can do too. I believe in pulling some from the reserve to help out. But I also and I appreciate the Constitution officers doing what they do. And I appreciate that reduction they got, that they took to help run this county. But I'm not ready yet to destroy everything we built up. I think negotiation is one of the best things you can do. And we got to be honest in our negotiations, that we'll do what we can for everybody and get what we need to be done.
Another question. Danielle, in terms of our general fund reserves, are they increasing every year?
They have been, yes, ma'am.
And how much?
don't think it's increased a whole lot this year.
It didn't increase a whole lot. So for fiscal year 25, they were right at about 78%. For fiscal year 26, it'll be 81%. In fiscal year 24, it was at 56%. In fiscal year 23, it was 68%. So it was up and then down, and then over the last couple of years, it's went back up.
And what do you anticipate going forward?
Depends.
Again?
It all depends. So for fiscal year 26, they're going up. I mean, it's not a lot. It's only a little over $100,000.
So I guess my point is that if we start dipping into our reserves, which is basically our savings account, and if this county continues on the path that we're on, and I think that may be the case for a while. Hopefully with our TCDA group working very hard, and I know some things are maybe real close there, but we don't know. There's no guarantees there, but I know they're working at it. But I think it's very, very risky to start dipping into our reserves to balance a budget when you've got one entity that's not willing to do as much as possibly they could. Again, this county we may hit bottom worse than what we think we are now. And I sure don't want to see this county go bankrupt because the 5 commissioners here could not manage the budget.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going, we asked across the board, every budget within the county to make a reduction. And I'm not gonna approve a budget, an overall budget, until I'm just one commissioner, but that's not gonna get an approval from me. And I'm not willing to start dipping into reserves. I think the feel of the citizens, they know that we're in a pretty rough situation. But I even think the feel of the citizens is they do want to see a reduction. They want to see a reduction in this county across the board, trying to save money. And then, if we had to make an increase, then make a slight increase. But just to throw the millage at 10 mil, max it out, and, or go get it out of reserves, that's just, for me, that's just being sloppy. I mean, at the end of the day, that's just sloppy and poor management.
Well, that's an easy way out too. If you don't want to work at trying to really reduce, then the easy way out is to say, raise the millage. Tell them I said it. Or dip into your reserves. That's not a responsible way to run this county. So what are you proposing? Are you asking one more time for a reduction, or are we at where we are, where I think we are, that we have to make decisions here and see what happens? Because the sheriff's office is very willing to go to the governor. I'm not afraid to go to the governor. I think that we could present a very good case here with everything that's happened to us and where we are financially here. So if that's where we are, let's do it.
I mean, if that's the direction we have to go, then yeah, I mean, I shouldn't have to go and reduce what I consider business people. I shouldn't have to go do it for them. I shouldn't. I mean, they should have to do their due diligence and go do it. And all it does whenever everybody gets like that is it creates a wedge between the entities that should be working together. And I'm not creating that wedge. I don't think,
We're not.
I'm not creating, no one is creating that wedge with any of the government. So I don't feel like it's my job to go go find their money. And I know that they can do it just as well as the other entities that have went out and done such. But, I mean, that's, it almost turned into I hate the lack of a better term, into a clown show, when I just have to say, hey, I'm gonna give you this amount of money, and that's it. That just, don't make no sense to me.
And that's, you're exactly right.
I mean, that makes zero sense to me that I would have to go in and just say, hey, I'm gonna give you, just say $9 million, and budget's gonna reduce by $200,000, and I'll just go, I mean, it's just not. Anyway.
The pressure is on, and some people may think that if I show out enough, or if I get mad enough, or if I do this, that, and the other, they'll cave in, because but to be honest, I've been here a long time, and up until now, we've always tried to accommodate every constitutional officer. We have never been to this point, and mostly what they have asked us and what the sheriff has asked us, we've given it, we've not said no, and that may be the problem, because they're used to yes, 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 and never a no. And now when you're at a point where you have to say no, and I don't like to have to say no, but, but we're at a point where we need to say no. Well, that's not going over very well, as you can see by the show today.
So, I mean, yeah, I guess if we have to just, it's like just pulling a number out of a hat. I couldn't, I mean, I would never ask nobody to go run my business for me. But
And the problem is, they come over here and they're pumped up, and they're ready for a big fight. And maybe if the fight's big enough, they'll give in. And maybe if we sensationalize enough about the deputies, 100 miles an hour down the road, or this, or some of them not coming home at night, and I don't take that lightly. I have relatives that are in law enforcement, and I know what they go through, and I know what the family goes through when they leave there every day, not knowing if they're gonna come back. I'm very sensitive to that. And in no way do I want the essential services, like a deputy, their jobs cut. I don't want that. But we all know in every organization, you can make cuts. You may not want to, but I feel like that since they've taken the stance that they have, they're not gonna back down. There's no need to try, in my opinion, to, there's no need for any further negotiations, because I don't think that's gonna happen. And I kind of knew that from day one, way back months ago. And it's played out just like I thought it was gonna play out. So, we have to do what we have to do. That's our responsibility to our citizens.
Mr. Chairman, I hear all this, but I do know some of this stuff is just upon us. It's not our fault. GP closing and 3 mills and 3 storms, that's not our fault. That's not their fault either. I'm trying to see it from the perspective that I've lost a job before. I've had to go elsewhere and find a job after the mill closed. Others have too. You do the best you can with it. And it's when you have to make cuts, there are just certain things you have to do. You just can't do no more. So I think the board need to just say, okay, we'll take what we got. If they said they were gonna give us $150,000 back, take another $100,000. Say, okay. And that'd be $250,000. That's what we're gonna fund you at. When you have to make these hard decisions, you make these hard decisions. And I appreciate, believe it or not, I appreciate law enforcement. Because when you're out there, there's some people out there that hurt you. And if you didn't have law enforcement, we'd be in shape. Not only the the Lord knows, but all our constitutional officers, they work hard to do what they need to do in order to keep us afloat. And I appreciate it. Not only that, the one we got here to work in the office, work for us, they do a good job. But I think with the 700 jobs we got out of this county, the 3 storms, we are pretty close where I think we ought to be. Yeah. I know the sheriff said, well, if we give you 150,000 back, well, sheriff, we got to have another 50, another 100, $200,000. Says, okay, if we that close, then we can fund from the reserve. But I don't have a problem. I've had to dip in my reserve. And then you hope for the better, for the best next year. You might not be able to do it all at one time. You do it step and fix it. Now, for the TCDA, I do not want them cut. I can tell you that. But simply, they on shoestring budget as it is. And if you gonna help this county, you're gonna need to spend some money to help this county to bring people back or to find other jobs to come this way. We are in a predicament. And in this predicament, any decision we make, we could either be ruled crazy, I don't want your job, or you do the best you can. We're gonna have those 3 categories. We're gonna have to deal with them. And that's a fact.
So,
Mr. Chairman, well, what we don't know is, so I asked the question of the sheriff's office when they said $100,000 with no disruption in service. I took that to mean that they would still supply the 2 correctional officers. We currently fund them at $65,000 per officer, so right, Danielle, so it's $130,000 that is in their budget for the 2 correctional officers, I believe.
65,000 inmate work squad that started in fiscal year 20, and half of that is offset with secondary road. And then I have fiscal year 21, an additional work squad at 55,000.
Okay. So it's 120, okay. Now, when the sheriff said they were going to stop the mowing and stop the inmates, I'm assuming he was referring to the additional squad that they have from the jail. That is not funded from the board, but I'm not absolutely sure. So what I don't know is if I need to add that money into the board side so we can fund the correctional officers, because our agreement is with the Department of Corrections, not with the jail. That's where we utilize the inmate labor. They're picked up directly from the prison. So I don't know if I'm going to have to replace those correctional officers, or if he was referring to the additional work squad he has, and they do a lot of cemetery mowing. Now, of course, if we're not going to continue mowing the cemeteries, that's a moot point.
So,
But that doesn't affect setting the millage or any of that. That's just something we have to work out.
that's what I mean. That's what I heard is that really he said all of them. I heard all of them. Take them all and go figure it out. So if it's $125,000 or $120,000, then you got a knife. We're looking to set a number, then you got $9,253,000 budget. You would have to deduct $120,000 off of that, and then, because, I mean, that's not reducing the budget by any means, because that's gonna shift it to you.
Yeah.
Is what it's gonna do. So then, take the 130 away from your 9,253,000, and then we still need a reduction, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I think they offered 100,000, and then if they are not going to supply the correctional officers, that's an additional 120,000, right? Am I adding right?
No, because it's just shifting it to you, because you
Oh,
gotta have.
correct. No, I was talking about the sheriff's office budget. That's all I'm saying.
I get it, but it still takes it, but it
Yeah,
don't
I
take it
know,
out of the
it's
whole
not.
overall budget.
Correct. Does.
It shifts it straight to you.
It does.
And yeah, their budget looks reduced, but it's not reduced. It's just, it's just throw that back in your face and say, here, you gotta go figure it out.
They don't change the overall.
But it does not change the overall budget, so that's where I'm saying again, if you take 20,000 off of your 9,253,000, then we're still looking for a reduction.
Right.
So to speak.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't
So
help
we
the
gotta go
bottom
spend
line.
that money over here still. We got that money still to be spent.
Right.
So, that's what I heard, but like I said, if we're talking about, that's our stance to, I didn't say it, he said it, but that's our stance to the way we're gonna run our business, then I feel like we should probably take emergency management also and drive that force as well.
This is not the first time that we've been threatened with, okay, I'm gonna pull the work crew, the mowing crew. This is old stuff. This has been going on. But like you say, that doesn't help the bottom line at all.
To get the same work done, somebody's gonna have to pay for it. It's gonna cost the money no matter who's putting it out. Somebody's got to do work. So it doesn't matter if you do it with your left hand or your right hand, money's got to come out one way or another. And they've been doing it and doing a good job of it. I mean,
Well, we didn't tell him to stop doing it. He said that was his way of giving money back. Jim, that's not giving money back.
well, he did give somebody. Yeah, but I don't.
You still got you still got $186,000, even with the $100,000 given back, there's still an increased budget. So, we didn't ask for the mowing squad back and all that, but I mean, that was his stance of giving, so he's reducing his budget, but in reality, that's not reducing the budget.
Well, it's reducing his budget.
Well, and that's what you asked him to do. You told him.
Come on, y'all.
Listen, I understand your principle, but I understand what he's saying. You're asking me to cut all the low-hanging fruit. There is part of that.
Come on.
So,
We're ready.
here or there, that's, I believe what he's saying from his logic side. Does that mean less tax dollars expense? No, sir, it doesn't. But under the guidance of the sheriff's office through his program, it is not a service that he.
I get it, but I can't believe we even think like that. I mean, I'm sorry, I just can't even believe we even think like that. I mean, it don't even.
Threw us a little bone today, that's all.
That don't reduce the overall budget that we're trying to do. I mean, that we're trying to reduce the overall budget, and that doesn't do it, so just to say that, oh, he gave you this squad back, you still gotta go and spend $120,000 over here on the board side, then I don't know how we even think like that. So,
The taxpayers of Taylor County gonna have to pay for it one way or another, if they want it done. And that's where I'm at with it. I mean, they've been taking care of it. Who's it gonna put the pressure on this? The one that has to make sure all that gets done? That's what's gonna happen.
I didn't ask for it back,
I know.
I didn't ask for
Well,
it back.
he just used that as a crime mower, but the thing is, it's gonna put more pressure on this for one to try to get all that same work done.
It's not me or you doing it,
And it's gonna cost the same amount of money for the taxpayers,
still not a reduced budget.
and they're taking care of it for the same amount of money. It's just another headache for her, what that's gonna boil down to.
That's right.
Her plate's pretty much full now.
Not disagreeing, but I didn't ask for it back.
You ain't got it back yet, but it'll be coming if you don't work with him on it, I'm sure.
I'm not trying to work with it, but I don't feel like it's really trying to work with us, I mean, honestly, I like these guys, I have no problem with these guys, and I think they're good folks, but I mean, at the end of the day, we have a job to do, and, I mean,
I just say the same amount of work that gets done that they do, that he's trying to give, or gonna give back to you, is gonna put the pressure on Mr. One to have to narrate all that work and get it done, and then it's gonna cost more money when you have to change horses, you can get a different color. I mean, that's just where I'm at with it.
Yeah, well, we are where we are. Okay, they said they want to give it back to us, fine, we'll take it.
So,
It doesn't help us with the budget, but we can take it, that's fine. I'm tired of those threats anyway, okay? And we haven't asked them to do any more than we ask every other constitutional officer and our county administrator. Everybody else has had put a sincere effort toward helping this county balance this budget, except for them. And again, they planted their foot in the ground, and that's where it's gonna be. So now, I think the ball is in our court. We've got to decide what we're gonna do.
so Danielle, that 9,253,000 minus, what is it, 120, is that 9,133? Is that right?
You're talking about the current request?
I'm looking at the budget from, the prior budget from last year that we're trying to. 9,253,000, take 120, that's gonna be what, 9,133?
9,133,498.
So, yeah, we have to take that back, then we're at 9,133,000. Which is, so that's not necessarily reducing the overall budget. So it is, have a recommendation that we want to go at with the sheriff's.
Is that reflective of the 100,000 reduction that they offered? The
Not mine.
He's doing it based off of the current year budget.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's just last year's budget that I'm looking at, that we were asking for a reduction.
Okay.
I'm just looking at if we take have to take the inmate squad back, that's $9,133,000 is what it goes to. So, yeah, I know you had mentioned maybe knocking $200,000. I mean, they did knock 100,000 off. Well, they knocked 100,000 off of their request. I know you mentioned knocking $200,000 off of their prior budget. We'll make a recommendation that that's what we do. So you go
That was the number I was throwing out.
9,133,000 to, you know, what was that? 8,933,000.
Well, you know, what we talked about before is a percentage of the budget. If we had asked him to cut his budget 15%. Okay. Do we want to still say, cut your budget 15%? When Dana, what is Dana's total budget? Danielle,
The new request?
2 million?
No.
How much?
Dana's is 629,524 is her request for the new year.
If you can take a small budget like that and cut 14%, you can't tell me you can't take an over $9 million budget and cut it.
She had a lady retire,
14%, just like she did.
she had a lady retire, and she's not gonna replace her where a lot of that comes from.
She did, but she went and she cut a lot of other stuff too.
I understand that, but a major part of that money that she got was from one employee retiring, and she's not replacing.
She did, and I appreciate that, but when I heard her talk right here about all the other things that she cut, it might not have been, a big ticket item, but she still cut to the bone, and that's what I'm talking about. She earnestly did what she could do to help this county budget. We expect that from everyone. Everyone needs to be treated the same.
I'll say with that, I feel pretty confident you're gonna see her standing at that podium asking for that money. But I don't know, Mayor, especially when the election time comes around, but, yeah, maybe she can work through it, that's great. And my hat's off to her. But, yeah, I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna sit here and say, hey, get 15% out of the sheriff, I did ask. But I don't have a problem, end up in $200,000 from that $9,133,000 number.
That includes the 100 that he's already
Well,
graciously given us.
Now, take that away. I'm working off of the budget from last year, the 9 million. I'm not worried about what they submitted.
Okay.
I'm not concerned about the 9.5 that they submitted. I'm just talking the 9,253,000 that they had from last year's budget. If we have to take the work squads back, then you gotta pull 120 out of that, so you're going to 9,133,000. But that don't reduce the overall budget, but then $200,000 less than that is gonna be 8,933,000. That's what that should be. I'm not gonna do 10%, I really don't. I understand they got a business to run and employees, but you know, like I said, there's over $9 million budget they could cut. We shouldn't have to do such as that. That's ludicrous that we even have to think and do such as that.
In addition to taking back the 1 cent sales tax.
Correct, yeah, 1 cent sales tax is beside the point. We're talking about, holding on to that, and the sheriff's department and the DMH, if they have a request, and, I think, I understand the sheriff's department's got $75,000 carryover. We're not looking to pull that back. And DMH has $528,000 carryover, something like that. We're not looking to pull that back. But even if they have a request, and
Take away from that, those two you talking about, those two last ones. $800,000 that the hospital got, you leaving it at, so they can get it if they need it.
yeah, that would be, that's the plan. If they, the 1 cent money is, if they need it, come and make a request that, hey, I need air conditioning, AC needs to be replaced, or the sheriff, hey, I need a couple cars, new vehicles, and we approve it. Same as we have to do with our legislative appropriations to the state of Florida. They don't hand us $8 million and say, here, not necessarily go do what you want with it, but I mean, we have to request it, and then they go through an approval process.
Some things they approve and some things they don't approve.
Correct. So,
Just because you ask, doesn't mean you're always gonna get it.
correct. So that money, Debs is didn't hold on to that money, because at the end of the day, you may need it in the near future for operational costs, and, in the next couple of budget years, you may need that money for operational costs, because we might not get this $900,000, likely won't get that $900,000, now we approved that this year, but, hey, we're blessed to have gotten it, so thankful to have gotten it. So I can tell you, if we hadn't got that, guess what, we may be asking for more and more.
Talking about, we have to fund the ambulance service, okay? We have to provide our county with an ambulance service. So that itself would come out of the 1 cent sales tax. Okay, whatever increases that we incur with that is still gonna have to come out of the 1 cent sales tax. So to me, that is the first priority, is to take that out of the 1 cent sales tax. Whatever is left over, keep it. And then, as you say, if something critical, if a critical need comes up, then, we can address that then.
So, so going to the sheriff's budget, I wanna wrap this up and don't say we keep getting down the road. Are we in agreement? If we got to go come up with a number, minus the work squad, because that's what I heard today, that approving his budget at $8,933,000, and then if he agrees to continue the work squad, then add that $120,000 back to it. Are we in concurrence?
I'm not in
Yes.
agreement with cutting it to that rate, no, sir. I think if they're gonna go look at those reductions, then we need to see what those look like in the capacity that the sheriff's office present that.
We've asked that, they didn't do it.
Well, he just said today, he stood up right there and told Mr. Ketchum to go back. I believe I heard him say. So,
Did y'all hear that?
I think what I understood was to determine what they expend, with their inmate work squad, with the mowing and the things that they do, which is outside of the correctional
I heard him
office.
say what he considered to be all low hanging fruit.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not sure exactly what all that entails.
Well, that's really just, that low hanging fruit for them is gonna be sending services back there that we gotta just put in Moana's budget and do it there, so I mean, if you look at it, I mean, the number's not coming back to you, so you're gonna, unless you're gonna do this for the next 4 weeks, you gotta finalize something to move forward.
Yeah, and I'm okay with your proposal, but we still have a huge deficit, and we're gonna have to figure out what are we gonna do with that? $200,000 is $200,000, and it's a lot of money, but with this budget, it's not gonna be all.
And it cleans up the general fund and takes your MSTU fund to, what, 218, still got 218 deficit left in the MSTU.
All these years, I've been on the board a long time, too, just like you have, Val. They didn't never go up on the millage, they went down, if anything, because we had the mill carried later. We don't have the mill anymore. Sooner or later, it's gonna come right down to the point you're gonna have to go up on the mill. And now's the time to start that a little bit. We need to get it a little bit, because all them years, that mill toted us. That's not carrying us anymore. We got to, we got to do something. And it's gonna be, once the reserve is gone, like you said, there you are, you're bankrupt, but reserve will carry us if we got something to replace it. And we're gonna have to go up on the millage a little bit. I've had talked to a lot of people in my district, and if you went up on the millage a little bit, $200 to $300 a household, not gonna break anybody. I mean, it might be tough, but it's not gonna break them.
I don't, what we would, I don't have a problem. We show reductions in budgets across the board. I don't have a problem with a slight increase in the building. To be quite honest about it, the regular household is probably not but $25 or $30.
Well, yeah.
The bigger corporations, and we all know who I'm talking about, is probably the one that it might affect more than any. But as far as the regular household, it might be $25 or $30. So, yeah, actually, we show the community and the citizens that we're decreasing, if everyone's making budget reductions, then we gotta make a slight increase. We got mill closures and hurricanes has pretty well devastated our real estate. Then, I can live with it.
But let me ask you this. I thought we figured out $200,000. That's from last year's budget.
Correct.
That gonna leave us $8,933,000. Is that what it's supposed to be?
That's what it would be if we did a reduction in the budget.
Yeah, if you look on page 261, you can see the request from last year and the request from this year. You can see the difference there on page 261.
Last year's budget we approved was $9,253,000. The request for this year was $9,539,000. I'm working off of what we're looking to reduce the budget from the $9,253,000 from last year.
$9 million.
I'm not looking to reduce the budget, I submitted, requested budget at 9.5, I'm looking to reduce what we already paid. So, yes, that would be $8,933,000, but if the sheriff's continued the work squads, then we keep that money in that budget. But somebody's gotta confirm that. I mean, what's emergency management budget?
It is a 3-year average, and it's 53,830.
How much?
53,830 is the local match.
And that's on the board side.
That's the board side. I think they get 2 grants.
So, to kind of wrap that part of it up, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean,
I can live with that.
so what, next, so in the budget, I did need to ask, now, just moving forward. Where we at on the minimum wage with our employees?
So I think in September of this year, it goes up $14. I think it's a very minimal impact.
Yeah.
There are some people that are gonna have to be moved up. I think it's like $5,000 or $6,000 impact.
It's, the general fund is 5,500 and solid waste is estimated at 14,000 and it's included already.
Already included in
Yes,
the
sir.
budget, right? Okay.
It is.
Then that gets everybody to 14, it's not at 14.
And then next year, we'll have to get everything, that's our mandated.
And do you anticipate it to be the same,
It should be
about the same numbers?
The only thing that retirement rates and workers' comp plays a part in the amount.
Wages is the reason we can't get and keep good employees. We need to figure out a way, and I know it'll cost money, but we've got to go up on the wages on our employees, or we're gonna keep losing more and losing quality employees. And that's the thing we've got to work toward, and that's what everybody needs to think about.
That's a whole nother discussion, that public
I know,
side that we need
but
to,
it's-
it needs to be looked at, the wages that this are paid and what we may need to do.
You compare the county to the city pays their employees that does the same job a lot more money. And it's a shame, but that's the way it's boiled down to. We've got to work on that, and the only way you're gonna do that is just like in the city, they pay over $100 more to get their trash picked up than we charge for. And that's another story too. They pay $100 more to get their trash picked up, and they don't get picked up but once a week.
Once, twice.
Twice.
Well, twice, or whatever, but it's, we're way behind the city as far as wages and different things, and they're above us on some things. It's like we should be getting the same thing for our dump site, but we don't. We got to work on that. That's another thing we need to get ahead on. But it's costing us money. Everything's going up.
What else? We got, so where are we, where does that leave us on the MSTU side? Is that still at, was that 218?
238, 447, I think.
That would leave us at 218 now, right?
I thought it was 238.
Yeah,
It's 238, 447.
we do what we just did, that's where we are at the 8,933.
That's all in there.
Yeah, that's
None of that will go on to the MSTU. nothing.
That's right.
So we're in the MSTU, we're still at 238,447. Is our deficit, 238,447 on MSTU funds. So if we've done a millage increase, what would that look like to balance the budget?
Let me pull my notes, I wrote it down. So to balance, the current deficit in the MSTU, it would go from 1.2250 to 1.3960.
It's just the rollback rate, so if you adopted the rollback rate, Right, that's what,
No,
but that's not it.
the rollback rate's a little higher. Rollback rate's 1.43.
Okay, that generates the same revenue as last year,
Yeah,
you don't need that
so
much.
you don't need that much.
Okay.
So 1.225, and then it would go to 1.3.
3960. It's 0.1710.
So then, where did that take our overall millage from 8.4 to 9?
Goes, it would go to a total of 8.6386. And right now, the total is 8.4676.
So what now?
Right now, it's 8.4676.
Yeah.
And it would go to 8.6386.
And that would only affect folks in the unincorporated areas.
So that still basically would just,
So I just did an example of someone that has like $100,000 value and they pay on $50,000. It's an increase of around $8.55.
a year. But that still, that's really just kind of balances it out. That still does not reduce with what the EMS service, is going on that yet.
Well, that doesn't affect the MST. You mean just overall?
The EMS bid that we're doing, that's still, we may have to still increase that.
Correct. But that could come out of the 1 cent sales tax.
That's what
So instead of having a 50-50 split, you could have 64, whatever the percentage is. So the balance could easily come out of the 1 cent sales tax revenue.
Yeah, I think currently we're doing 50% out of the general fund and
Right.
50% out of the
1 cent.
1 cent sales tax.
You know, I'm sitting here thinking and listening that we're talking about increasing taxes and I go back to what Commissioner Moody said, the city, we have a 2-day-a-week pickup for garbage. Our roll-offs are open 7 days a week. 7 days a week. So why don't we talk about maybe cutting back on that? And you know, because I think that's an opportunity to save some more money before we jump right off into increasing things. I want to look at more opportunities. I see that because, you know, and will we get a lot of calls? Yes, we will. We'll get a lot of calls. But if you raise their taxes, you're gonna get a lot of calls anyway. So, and it's what you get used to. You know, if in town, we know our garbage is gonna be picked up on Monday and Thursday where I live. Okay, so we prepare for that. And I think that in the county, we could certainly cut back.
Yeah, I would agree with you all. The village part of it, and that number, I just wanted to put that number out there so that we do.
Understand?
Yeah, I don't disagree with it, but when you do, if we did end up cutting such,
It wouldn't affect the
it wouldn't
MST.
affect the MST, all it's gonna do is affect the solid waste.
The fee.
But it's still money to the county.
It is.
It is, but it's
And,
just.
right, and we can run those numbers, and I think it would, I mean, it may help overall as far as some of the staffing issues that we have.
Right.
So, what funds would we look at that would help balance the MSTU? There's not a lot.
So again, you can use 1 cent sales tax revenue for operations, or you can look at your millage in the MSTU. Now, all that being said, we don't know, you know, different insurance is expense to the MSTU departments. So if there's a reduction in some of our lines of insurance, it may have a positive effect, but that's just unknown. And for purposes of setting the millage, you're not going to know before you have to vote to set the millage. But you can set the millage and come down later if you need to. I really don't, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think our insurance expenses are going to go up unless there's a change next year, right?
So, and the way that property insurance, so if we have another storm, as an example, something is damaged, whatever is damaged, we have to make sure our property insurance covers whatever FEMA is going to reimburse. So say, Marcia, you might be able to help me, recycle building, for instance, totally destroyed, right? So if FEMA reimburses at X amount of money, they're then going to require insurance policy to be at least at that minimum amount moving forward. So that's one of the reasons why our insurance increased so much, is because everything that was destroyed for Idalia, Helene, they came back and said, okay, we're reimbursing this. So now at a minimum, you have to have this moving forward. That makes sense? So every year, our property insurance could, depending on what happens.
So with with that FEMA reimbursement deal that saying if they give X amount of dollars, and I'm just going through some folks that I talked to in these same situations, that FEMA was gonna give them X amount of dollars, but then they were gonna require all this insurance, so they just declined the money. They declined the money because the cost of the insurance was gonna be outrageous.
And they require you to we have to give them our insurance policy.
Right, so, I mean, just generally speaking, when you look at it, do we even have to accept the money? If it's gonna be a negative impact in the long run is what I'm getting at.
I understand.
That particular building, it was a turnkey project.
I was just using that as an
Yeah,
example,
but the bid alone for the rebuild was over $1 million.
Right.
If that makes sense for what type of policy you would have just for one building.
Well,
I mean, it's like the airport, the hangar at the airport, the premium came in at that, and I mean, the premium for that was whatever, $50,000. I mean, it's crazy. Yes, it's a lot. But I understand what you're saying, so that's something we can look at moving
Right.
forward.
And just to add to some of the angst, every 3 years, I think they do a survey, and, so there were some things added to the policy that weren't there before, and that increased the premium as well. But it's just difficult to be able to predict where those premiums will come in as, going through the procurement process. Hopefully a reduction, but.
Looks like it we need to be in the insurance business, don't we?
One thing that might be helpful to look at is you have this one that Danielle gave out Monday, that says Taylor County 25-26 budget. About 3 pages from the back is where the MSTU fund overall starts. So you see the revenues there. One of the things that kind of makes sense is building permit fees don't really cover the cost of the building department. I mean, I know it's not a lot, it ain't a lot of money, but if you could increase the fees to at least cover those expenses, that would, give some money that would help. And then the next page is the expenditure, so you can see volunteer fire, county fire, code enforcement, building department, animal control. Those are all the things that's funded out of that department there, so those are the things that have to be decreased if you were gonna cut or decrease anything. It had to be in those departments, so that's just an easy way to look at what you can do there, and I think the city does reimburse us some for animal control, that probably won't change. So animal control fees are only $200, I don't know what that is, but. And I don't know if any of these new fire stations, when they're projected to be completed, or if they're gonna be manned, then that's gonna be an increase. That's gonna be an increase on the expenditures when those get completed.
When all those got started, it was fine, but it was kind of a, yeah, we need them, but some of the new ones that are gonna be, a couple of the new ones that will be built. Long term idea, but, I mean, we don't have the funding. Right now, we don't have the funding to do that unless you go up on the village. So, or in the event that, hey, we get some industry comes into the community the next 2 to 3 years, or 5, really, I have to say more realistically, 4 to 5 years. So, right. So, MST fund, you know, we're at a $238,000 deficit. I mean, you see your MSTU funding opportunities, and about like the clerk said, I mean, the one that, you know, your permit, that'd be about your only option right now, so that'd be your only option to even gain any ground in the MSTU fund. But I think, well, I know some of these other areas, she's probably already done some cuts.
But we could, we could certainly look at some other counties and similar, population and size and compare our permit fees to other counties. And I think the last time the fees were changed was 2008. Yeah, they have not been increased in quite some time. And I know immediately after the storm, was a sensitive time to bring it up, but we can bring those numbers back.
But, you know, for probably budget purposes, I mean, after we have that much time, you're not gonna, we'll bring that number back if we were even done.
Well, before the budget is finalized, certainly before the final budget hearings, that's something we can work through between now and then. And
There's the special meetings on the 29th to set the millage.
right.
And that millage is what's advertised on the trend notices. And then the
Set that higher rate, and then if the permit fees reduce that, then it would
And
be.
the insurance reduce that, then you can lower it if that's what you wish to do.
And when is the final?
September, I got those dates if you need them. So the first public hearing would be September the 8th. 501.
So we just do that at the final,
We have all this.
final numbers.
Can we take a short break, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, I just, if you want to take 5 minutes, I'll just take 5.
Oh. I got another one. Let's work on this one a while. Thank you, ma'am.
Jumped out there and got you, didn't
If you don't care, I need x-rays.
it? And we know a place to take care of that.
I'm gonna have to go.
It's going to somebody. Hey, we're gonna leave a bruise.
That's serious stuff. Take the long way around. Got it on clerk. Always got it on film too, right? Money with that thing.
You're lucky, the camera there.
Good. Get started again.
One thing I wanted to bring up, and again, I'm looking for any little amounts that we can, recover. So I had a call, the last week from someone that has rental property at the beach. And they were telling me that they gave their solid waste card to the renters, and the renters didn't return that card. So they wanted to get another card. And so, and I don't know how many cards are floating around out there. There may be a few, there may be a lot, but however many is out there just gives the opportunity for someone to use the roll-off that shouldn't be using the roll-off. You see what I'm saying? So I was talking to LaWanda earlier about it, and I'd just like for us to discuss on those cards. We give out 2 to each property owner, right, annually. And so, if they come back and say that they've lost their card or the renter didn't give it back to them, that we charge a pretty hefty fee for that extra card. That way, especially for someone that has rentals, they can, if we charge them, I'm just gonna throw a number out there, if we charge them $50 for another card, then they can get that deposit. Once they hand that card to their renter, they can get a $50 deposit. So if they return that card, give them the $50 back. If they don't, then they have to come buy another one. They've got the $50 to buy the extra card. So that would eliminate, I think, maybe some misuse of our roll-offs. Anybody got any feelings about that?
I do. I hate to see even having the cards. It needs to be stickers only as far as I'm concerned. I know it would interfere with the rentals, because I had rentals too, and all of them had cards in them, and I had them hung on the board in the rental houses at the beach. But the thing is, I've talked to Gary Lombo about it. He said we are actually probably getting $200,000 to $300,000 a year extra stuff hauled to the dump site, to haul to the waste that we shouldn't even be getting. We're getting it from the city, we're getting it from contractors. These hurricanes are a good example of that. At my dump site down behind the airport, I've seen trailer loads and trailer loads of contractors pulling in there and unloading. The other day, I pulled up there, here's a contractor, had a whole trailer full of sheetrock, and he brought his tractor on another trailer, and they were unloading the trailer with the front end loader into our dumpster. I mean, it took all I could do to keep them saying, go up there and say, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't. I told them, employee there after they left, I said, went back by there, and I still live right below the dump there. I said, y'all need to, start looking in contractors' doors on their truck instead of contractor. They don't need to be dumping it. They charge the people that they work for waste fee to go to Greenville, and they need to be carried to Greenville. We have got to get a handle on it. It's costing the taxpayers of the county a world of money.
Yeah, if we had canisters like other counties, instead of those big roll-off things, that might would help, because I've looked at other counties, as I go through and I'll look at them, and they don't have those roll-offs, they have those
They don't,
canisters.
and they'll run you off. You go to Madison, up on Madison Highway and try to dump a trailer load of sheetrock, see what they do. They'll send you to the Greenville. They will. I done tried it. They said, you need to take that trailer load and go to Greenville. I just stopped there. I was going to Greenville. I said, I'm gonna go have some fun. That lady told me, she said, you got to go somewhere else for that. You got to go to Greenville. I said, I understand. And that's what all the surrounding counties are doing too. They're sending them there. So
I think that's how we get a handle on it, is to eliminate these roll-offs and go to the canister, and then we can, at another time, another meeting, we can talk about, what do the people that have the C and D, what are they gonna do with it? So I think that would eliminate.
We got a big hurdle to jump with the dump business, and that's like you said, we need to do that in different conversation, different time, but I'm for that. We have got to get a handle on it. It's costing the taxpayers of the county a world of money. I have people complain to me about it.
Yes. And we're paying for that, and I actually had someone within the city recently that asked to use my card to take off a bunch of stuff where they had destroyed a building. And I said, I can't do that. I cannot do that. But, we need to schedule time and really seriously talk about changing this process.
There's a lot of things we can cut, and we need to talk about later on, that can cut money and help the county.
And what do y'all think about, charging extra for that card? If they,
Do you think the sticker is a better option? You think the sticker on the vehicle is a better option?
I do, because, we'd have to do something different with the rentals, but most of the rentals now are taken care of from realtors. They can work that out with a realtor that handles their rental houses and things like that. But the stickers, and one lady told me, said, I don't want a sticker on the back of my car. I said, all you gotta do is just open your door, put it right down there, and when you open your door to dump, the sticker's plain view, and nobody else will see the sticker on your car. I said, there's an easy way to do it, instead of putting it up on your windshield, you put it just inside your door on your car, your truck, when you open the door, there it is, that's the way it is on my truck out there, And, the sticker would be, the people at the dump sites have told me over and over, all the different sites I've stopped at and talked to people, the attendants, they even hate to ask somebody for a card or, but if they see a sticker, they know that they good to go. So, I mean, all in all, it would really be better to have stickers. And they can't pass them around like they pass the cards around. There's gentleman that cleans up yards all over Taylor County, cut trees. Right back here, I seen him one day when I left here. I went by there and he was loading a trailer right here in the house, 2 houses down from the street back here. I went to the house and got something and headed back to town. And when I headed back to town, he was at our dump site down there, behind the airport. I pulled up there and I said, where are you working at? He said, I'm working for some people on the golf course road. And I said, yeah, you sure are. I said, I just seen you up there behind her office, and he laughed. I said, you go ahead and unload it now, but that's just, it's happening. And there's tons and tons of stuff that comes out of the city that we're having to pay, the tax revenue the county's having to pay for. I mean, we really need to have a special deal on that.
Something you want to say, sir?
I just want to say, in reference to those stickers, I got one on my truck. It's on the front bumper. And every time I go to the dump, they ask me for a card, so that sticker don't mean a thing to them.
I think the stickers are out anyway, right?
We don't have any more.
When you pull up there to the dump and open that door, if it was just on the inside of your door, right down at the bottom.
It's right there on the bumper. When I come drive in, they ought to be able to see it.
Yeah.
He said it's on the front bumper and they don't ask for it, so
Yeah.
they ask for
well,
a card.
let's schedule a workshop for this for later.
Yeah, but I got probably some other options on to look at that, but that's not really for this budget stuff right now.
And Mr. Moody's right. A lot of stuff is coming out of the city. Every time I go, I see people I know live in the city down there using the dump. And if I know they live in the city, I know some of them people running roll-off sites know it too.
Oh, yeah.
The roll-off site you got, I don't pay for them, sir. I don't pay for the roll-off site. You told me not to go. How many roll-off sites do we have in the county?
9, right? Yeah, we got 9. So, okay. So, back to the MSTU. $238,000 deficit. See our options and, I guess, is it like, for the time being, we're either gonna balance that. If the options are gonna be to balance it from the village increase that Danielle had mentioned, or 1 cent money.
I mean, you can use MSTU reserves, that's an option, but
What was the reserve again?
right at 2 million.
2.3.
How much money does that MSTU increase each year? Do we even see much of an increase in that each year?
It's increasing quite a bit from this year to next year. I would have to go back and look to see what it's the trend. I didn't do the trend for MSTU, I only did it for general fund.
Got it.
I'd like to know that number also.
Yeah, I just wonder what the increase is, I don't. You know, maybe we had to do it 1 year, but I just cannot.
Well, you have to remember that, we've been trying to build the MST reserves by using 1 cent sales tax for capital purchases.
Right.
So that's helped.
I'd rather, look at that 1 cent sales tax. I am just afraid to use reserves
I don't
because
disagree.
anything catastrophic could happen and there we would be. I'm just very, very cautious about that.
And really, I just don't want to get too common in having to use the 1 cent sales tax. If we did it 1 year, then we may need to. So do we have a suggestion from the board on this 238,000, what we want to do?
From the MSTU,
Sir?
from the MSTU reserve?
You have a $238,000 deficit there.
Okay.
I mean, your options are the increase that Danielle presented in the millage, or balance from the MSTU reserves, or balance from the 1 cent money. For me, I would probably refrain from trying to balance from the MSTU reserves.
I'm for the 1 cent sales tax. Now, my question would be, to your financial people, with the 1 cent sales tax, if we took it all back, it would more than, take care of the MSTU and the ambulance service.
Yes.
Well, you're expecting an increase in that respect, correct?
Yeah.
So that's taking out of one pocket and putting it in the other, really.
I mean,
Because if they come up with a need, you're gonna give them the money anyway, and it's gonna have to come out of reserves if we don't.
Maybe not. It depends on what it is, just because you got your hand out. But yeah, if it's something they've got to have, I'm all for it. But I think there's been superfluous spending in some areas, but at least that would be a fix. That would be the best use of the 1 cent sales tax, in my opinion,
Use that instead of going up on the millage.
for right now. For right now.
I thought we said that we didn't really want to use those funds, not knowing the unknown bids or expenses. That it wasn't responsible to go into these reserves, so that's really eliminating some of those options of what we're gonna be able to do. So I think it's permissible in this conversation to either look at the MSTU reserve or the 1 cent reserve,
Yes.
not just the 1 cent monies for next year. Is that true?
I would think so. I mean, you'll have to change your.
Pass a resolution. I think,
Yeah,
to be able to
pass
use
a
it for operating.
Right. Just like we did with it.
So even to use the 1 cent reserves, you have to pass a resolution.
Yes.
What did he say? What did Eric say?
We have to change, you would have to adopt a resolution, just like you did when we started using for EMS.
So right now, your only two options is gonna be increase in the millage or MSTU reserves.
No, I mean, you have plenty of,
You have time.
you have plenty of time, yeah. You have plenty of time to pass a resolution to utilize your 1 cent sales tax funds. So, and again, we don't know, there are some unknowns. But as far as time, I think what's pressing right now is a decision about setting your millage, because, you can set your millage, and then if these unknowns, if things work out and you don't need as much, then you can lower the millage, or you can use your 1 cent sales tax.
We also talked about if the building department, if you change
Right.
those fees, between now and you really have to adopt a final decision, you may have a number there in this budget for next year, if that's just something you do.
Well, the path forward would be to set that at the 1.396, and then
You would
reduce
have
that
enough to cover it.
if as you could.
That would cover it, worst case scenario, it would cover the deficit But you could always reduce it if you found somewhere else to, or if you decided to use reserves or whatever, you can always set the millage rate
And
lower than
that's,
that.
that hearing is in September.
Right.
So you have
That's fine.
between now and September to work out the
Well,
details.
yeah, so the July 29th, you've got to set that tentative millage, which would be the one that, the 1.33 or whatever it is. And
It's
then
1.396.
1.396, and then by the September meeting, you would have more numbers and a better idea, and you can reduce that, leave it the same, leave that at 1.22, you just can't go over it.
Or we could, at the next meeting, we could pass a resolution. That's easy to do in one meeting.
Yeah, you can do that before the September hearing.
What happened Tuesday meeting?
Yeah, and that way.
Now, you'll have to probably prepare it and advertise it and all that, so,
Well, I mean,
take a little time, but you can do it before September.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna do with that money, we're keeping that, hold on to that money, we're going to do that anyway, so.
Correct.
That's just, I think we gotta do it, so.
I ask a lot of people about, what would you rather see? Cut funds on different departments and this and that, and they told me, said, going up on the millage, and this is more than one person told me this, go up on the millage a little bit, instead of, cutting yourself short. They said, you can always go down, you can't go back up, you can't keep going up, but you could go up enough to cover everything. And instead of pulling out of your reserves and your 1 cent sales tax, the millage, they said they'd rather see the millage go up and take care of business. They said a fire truck, an ambulance, a hospital, and a sheriff's department, something they want to have. They don't want to cut short on those 4 things. And it's a no-brainer. You need more money for the fire department if you're ever gonna give them a raise. You're gonna need more money to give our employees raises. You're gonna have things that tear up, you're gonna have to buy, just like we bought the new dump truck the other day, the garbage hauling truck. We've got somewhere, the money's got to come from somewhere. And people, they say, they'd rather you go up on the millage, is what people told me, and I asked a lot of people, I've been talking this for months, to different people, because I knew this was coming up. And they just don't want services cut. We can save some money on some of the services, just like we did talk about the dump sites. But there's a lot of ways we can save money, but it just takes a little planning to do it. But the millage is what they want to make sure that we have services, and really the only way we can keep our services up to par is go up on the millage a little bit.
Yeah, what my fear is that we raised the millage this year. Next year, we're gonna be in the same situation. Then, say for instance, we raised that millage again next year. The first thing, before you know it, we're gonna be at 10 mills. That's it. And then, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do then? We've already capped that off, so we're taxing everybody to the max. So one day, unless a pile of money comes in from somewhere, one day we're gonna run out of money. We can't raise that millage no more. So I'm just very, very careful in wanting to raise the millage. We've got that 1 cent that we can use.
How long's it been since the millage was raised? I'm not sure.
I haven't.
He might could tell.
Yeah, I don't remember.
MSTU was raised when, Commissioner Page
Years
was
ago?
here to hire 2 firefighters.
At the beaches, yeah.
So it's about 5 years ago.
Yeah, what about 5?
I think it was in 2018. 2018, I think. And
So
I'm
you'd
not
be in
sure about
favor
Jordan.
of minor,
Alright.
a general fund, you're talking about a millage rate for the MSTU as well as the expenses for the general fund. What would that cost look like?
For,
So if we did the MSTU, but also for the general fund shortfall.
I would have to recalculate it. So I calculated what the general fund millage would be at the deficit when we came in.
That's what I'm asking,
Okay.
please.
So it would go, from 7.2426 to 7.360.
Could you repeat that, please, ma'am?
7.2426 is the current millage.
Right.
It would go to 7.360 to cover the deficit we had on Monday.
Yes, ma'am. And do you know what that annual increase would be on the same values,
It would be about $5.80.
including the MSTU, that'd be 13?
Yes.
So less than $14 a year on those values.
That's using $100,000.
Would that,
Well,
would that cover what we need to keep things going?
That's on the budget that was put
Yeah,
in front of us.
that would
Yes.
cover the budget, but then again, things go up for next year.
I'm not looking to go backwards in the reductions that we looked at, that we've already discussed. I'm not looking to back up in the budget discussion. For me, we're still, I mean, I think we have the general fund taken care of. And we're still working on the MSTU fund. I'm pretty flat in the way, I don't really wanna increase the millage or use reserves, but we gotta do one or the other, so, but I'm not looking to back up to balance the budget, totally, and we already have made a plan to balance it with the general fund. Just me. So, me, the discussion still stands at the MSTU fund deficit of $238,000.
What do you wanna do?
I don't really, I mean, you gotta do one or the other, but that's not pretty flat, I don't really wanna, I don't wanna raise the millage or go to those kind of reserves, but, I probably would be more in favor of the 1 cent money for now, and then, if we did raise anything, then, we balance the budget at the 1 cent money, and if we did increase the millage, then how is that gonna benefit us going forward other than balancing the budget?
Well, I think for the sake of coming to having to set a rate that we can then reduce from, if our needs are not that high, then absolutely, we can always reduce that number. But I think going towards the special meeting that's coming up, for me, these are the numbers that we see we can come to. That's just where it seems to me like. And if we make a decision to offset that with a partial amount of reserve funding or different funding, then we can. But I think in looking at those amounts, if I understood that right, it's less than $14 a year increase. I do agree with what Commissioner Moody said with the folks that I have spoken with. I'm a taxpayer. I don't want to pay higher taxes. But we've got these services that we've got to pay for. And we certainly can continue to look and find ways to be creative and be more efficient. But at the end of the day, we still have to come to a point to set these rates and understanding we can set those and reduce them if we have that option or opportunity, we have the option. But I don't think going into that session without having a greater, input or data from a number of places, whether that be what the costs of the ambulance service are going to be, or insurance, or a number of unknowns. For me, it seems the most wise to set those rates at what we realize we would have to have. And certainly we can look deeper into reducing that should we get that potential.
Mr. Chair, I hear the words be creative, but I haven't heard anything creative so far except to raise the millage rate perhaps. And I want to go back to my suggestion earlier about maybe cutting some of the days with the roll-off. So what I would really like to see is LaWanda, if you could come back with the next meeting, Monday, if that's possible, I don't know if it is. And give us some options, give us some proposals of, cutting back on the non-roll-offs and see what that, where that nets us. And before we start just carte blanche saying, gonna raise taxes, let's look at those creative ways and see where we can cut versus spend.
So just so I understand, though, talking about what you're talking about, the solid waste and the hours of service. Even if we did, I mean, to me, that's probably a whole different discussion, I guess, because even if you did, I mean, the solid waste assessment is what it is, right?
Correct.
So that's not really gonna reduce anything to the citizens. It might put, more, it may bring more revenue. You're just reducing services, so to speak, but it may put more in your solid waste reserves. But it's not gonna reduce the taxpayers' solid waste assessment, so.
Well,
Exactly right.
and
Won't reduce your general
where I'm
fund
at
costs
with
or the
that is
MSTU.
that if you cut the days, and we already have problems with, having enough employees for the roll-offs anyway. So, and one of our biggest expenses, if not the biggest, is salaries and benefits. So, that would be one way that I think that it would reduce the cost.
Yeah.
And,
But I just wanna say that maybe, I don't disagree in having the discussion, but I just think for budget purposes, it's probably not gonna help. I mean, we could do that, and even if it was in October, you can do it, you're still gonna get the same results if you cut back, but it's not gonna do anything to this particular budget.
well, and I hear you, but if she comes back with some proposals that would be somewhat significant, then that wouldn't play a part into this budget?
No, it's not gonna play a part in reducing any cost to the citizens, because that is the assessment is there. And all it would, I mean, in the solid waste budget, yes, it might, just say if we cut services by, just say, I'm just gonna use it a third, then it may put $100,000 additional into or it may put $200,000 into the solid waste reserves. But, so yes, I'm not saying it's not gonna help the solid waste budget, but overall, it's not, in our MSTU fund, it's not gonna do anything there that we're working on today.
That's true.
Is that-
And the same tonnage is gonna come the day after. If you collect it for 2 days, that third day, they're gonna bring the same amount of weight.
Well,
But we have to haul it
You
off.
save on employee cost right there.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying don't discuss it at all. I'm not saying not that it don't need to be
I
discussed,
understand.
but I'm just saying, go ahead, sir.
I just want to say, if you close the roll-off sites for a couple of days a week, which I personally think is a good idea, you're still gonna have a problem with vandalism. People's gonna cut the fence and go in there anyway. They're already doing that.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You're gonna have to spend money to keep people there, to keep them from doing that. So you're defeating the purpose by doing it.
That's right.
So I don't disagree with the discussion, but maybe we can put that in the near future, maybe in an August meeting, and maybe it's something we can discuss. And-
I'm just trying to think outside the box.
Oh, I don't disagree.
What can we do to save this county some money?
That's it.
That's the only thing I'm doing.
Yeah, well, I'm 100% with you. I'm 100% with you. So, do we have a recommendation for this MSTU fund, the $238,000 deficit?
I recommend going up on the millage to take care of it.
So go from the 1.225 to the 1.360?
With that, what I see here is that figure, that would cover.
That's the MSTU fund.
Right.
Was I correct? 1.36?
1.3960.
1.3960. So it would go from 1.225 to 1.3960. And that would be, yeah.
How much will that bring in?
Well,
Enough to balance. It will cover the deficit.
that's just
Now,
about
was
It will cover the two,
$238,447.
yeah.
I recommend that we take it out of the 1 cent sales tax.
I'd be in agreement with, the millage rate.
I would support the 1 cent sales tax at this time, and then if we did any kind of millage increase, I would like to see where is it gonna benefit the business? Where is it gonna benefit the business for the citizens if we did an increase? Is it gonna benefit with a millage increase? Hey, I'm charging you more money, but I'm gonna give you extra firefighters or extra whatever, so for now, I'd be in favor of the 1 cent money. I'm saying I'm opposed to any millage increase, but I'd like to be able to tell the citizens, you're not having to pay money to balance the budget, this budget, but you're paying additional money to, this is what you're gonna get.
Right.
The sales tax comes from people from everywhere coming through here. It's not just the local people, you know. We really need to go up on the rate of that, you know. I mean, sales tax could go up too.
Yeah, I mean,
But that would get everybody to come through here. Everybody buys gas, everybody that shops at Walmart. You ride through the Walmart parking lot, you can't hardly see a local tag, it's all out of town people, you know.
I agree with you, but the problem that we've got right now is the governor has cut out a lot of sales tax on a lot of stuff, and it's not just seasonal, it's year round. And I don't know what kind of impact yet that's gonna have on us, but I'm sure it's gonna have some kind of negative
It will.
impact on us. So, you know, we raise, he lowers. I mean, you know.
That's a good reason not to cut use out of the sales tax, because we don't know if we're gonna have that same sales tax next year. You know, with these cuts we got coming.
The same thing about property tax.
Yeah.
It didn't make it to the floor this year, but next year it's coming.
I still am in favor of using the sales tax to balance the MSTU fund of 238,000 and 238,000.
yeah, Mr. Dent, what you thinking?
I can figure out one probably putting in another for me.
Yeah, about right, yeah.
So both of them up, which one they would fall first. Do the sales tax. Everybody pays it.
You saying
Yeah,
1 cent money?
yeah.
Let's make sure we do that resolution on the next meeting.
Well, we can do it in the next meeting, could we?
No, it'd have to be the first meeting in August.
Yeah, next week's meeting, the agenda's already gone out, and I'm not sure what kind of, does it require advertising, probably?
Not a resolution, I don't think, but we'd have to ask Conrad to prepare it. Or, I mean, I can ask
Yeah,
Conrad to
it's not
prepare it.
prepared and get it on the agenda, so maybe the next meeting.
No. For that Tuesday's meeting,
No, not the one after that.
The one after that, right?
for the first meeting in August. Got it. Okay. All right, so, what next?
I guess I'm going back to, I just want to be clear on the jail emergency management and the mullet. Is that now going to be ours, or is it still undecided?
I didn't hear nothing about the jail.
Well, okay, well, whatever. I know that was mentioned at one time.
I'm sure it'll be brought up after this meeting and all over, so I guess a lot of them just need to let us know what we need to do there.
If the board is considering changing your interlocal agreement with the sheriff's office, I would have to bring that, put that on an agenda for the board to discuss. If you want to, just, however you want to change that, you do or don't. I'm sure I'll get clarification about the correctional officers and, bring that back to the board.
So we did calculate, if the board does agree to cut the sheriff's budget to $8,933,498, that would leave Danielle, what was it,
304,669 would be in excess.
Say that again?
304,669. When you'd have an excess in the general fund, and so when we balance, I would roll it into reserves.
Even,
So
so
the
the
one,
increase for the correctional officers?
the 120 would either go back to them if, depending on what they said, or we would budget in the county budget. I allowed for the 120 also.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, 120 wouldn't affect it because it's either you do other people.
Yeah, I calculated either way.
All right. What else? All right. So,
So I guess my question would be, do we need to meet on Monday, or since we kind of know where we're going, the next thing, the special meeting is on the 29th, and you are going to just set the tentative millage, and that millage will go on the trim notices?
So we skip the 24th.
That's what I'm
I'm
asking.
not skipping the 24th, and then the next budget meeting being the 29th.
We have budget workshop scheduled for Monday, the 21st, and the 24th.
Right.
So, I guess it depends on what you want.
Meet the 21st or the 24th.
Right, and then we would set the millage at 5:30 on the 29th.
I mean, I guess if we don't have anything else to discuss, then we would just reconvene on the 29th.
Well, I really think we're where we are. I mean, I don't know what else to do.
Well, and I can update the board on the 22nd, and then if we need a workshop after that, then that can be scheduled. We would need to meet on the 24th.
Yeah, you can just leave them scheduled and then cancel them if you.
Right. So you want to go ahead and
Go ahead and
cancel
cancel the 21st.
the 21st, wait on the 24th, just in case there's something you need to further discuss after the meeting on the 22nd.
So that, just to be clear, because I think it says on the agenda it's Thursday the 29th, but it's Tuesday the 29th.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that's when we have the special hearing to set the tentative. That's right. Yeah, Tuesday the 29th.
And you have a workshop that night.
It's before the
So,
workshop.
Monday, the 21st, council, the 24th, Thursday is still on. And we'll decide that on Tuesday, at our Tuesday meeting. Okay. All right, so, got any items you want to?
I just wanted to let the board know that we had our mandatory EMS meeting yesterday, and we had 5 companies attend the meeting, which is very encouraging.
Yeah.
It was a very positive meeting, very informative, and that's a mandatory pre-bid meeting, so if companies did not attend that meeting, they cannot submit a proposal.
Who didn't attend?
So we have 5 different companies.
I got a couple of things. I just want to just make sure that it's clear. Again, the sheriff accused me of lying to him and telling him that I was not going to cut his budget. That conversation was, I think it was the last budget session, not this. And we talked, and at that time, I said, no, I don't have any intentions of cutting, vote to cut your budget at that time, because we were kind of okay, you know. So as far as this cycle that we're in now, I have not said that I have not told him that I wasn't going to cut his budget. We have not discussed his budget for this cycle. I just want to make sure that that's very clear. The other thing I want to publicly apologize to Commissioner Moody. I had no intent of throwing rocks at you, and I apologize I apologize for that. And again, I really appreciate everybody that's worked so hard to try to make this budget work. And Jamie, I want to thank you for your leadership. I really appreciate that.
Anyone else? All right, if there's nothing further, meeting is adjourned.
Line muted.